Good morning, everybody. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. It's good to have you here. I'm Adam Atchison.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Krista Gutierrez. Happy Monday to you. We have a lot of news we're covering this morning, but first, we need to talk about weather. Happening right now, hundreds are still waiting for their power to be restored around the metro. The outages spanning from Valencia County all the way north to Rio Rancho. Authorities are blaming widespread storms yesterday. No word on when everyone's power will be up again.
Well, you probably know this if you were watching last night out the window. Rain poured much of the metro, including the downtown area. This video was taken just outside the KRQE News 13 studios yesterday evening. Later in the night, the rain still going strong in the northeast part of town. You can see puddles in the streets there. Drivers having to navigate that. Listen to this. The Isotopes have a doubleheader today after the storms stopped them last night. The game was canceled due to big lightning on top of that rain. Managers say the team will play two games with 7 innings starting at 12:05. Let's now turn to Kristen Curry and find out what we can expect as far as today. That lightning show was impressive last night.
Yeah, especially out on the west side. We picked up close to an inch of rain in some parts of Rio Rancho, but this morning we're taking a break. Not much to worry about out there. We have some weak rain out across the northwestern corner, but for the most part, Albuquerque to the east, totally clear at this point. When it comes to the currents right now, we're at 64 degrees. Later this morning, we'll jump into those low to upper 70s. By lunchtime, those 80s, and then later today, the 90s. The allergy report for this afternoon: sagebrush, chennepods, and grass up to medium. Pine not an issue today, but the storms continue for parts of the metro and areas over the higher elevations to the north and to the east of us. Temperatures will climb one more day, but a cold front moving in late Tuesday into Wednesday will give us better storm chances as well as more wind and cooler temps. So we'll go over that full 7-day forecast, show you what you need to know coming up here in just about 10 minutes.
And we begin with some overnight breaking news. Albuquerque police are investigating a deadly drive-by at a park in northwest Albuquerque, killing 1 kid, injuring 2 others. It happened around 2 o'clock this morning, the lower section of Pat Hurley Park. That's near Atrisco and Central. Police tell News 13 they came out to the park earlier last night after there were kids still playing. Police told them to leave since it was closed. A short time later, they responded to a call involving gunshots. When officers arrived, they found 1 kid on the ground dead. 2 others were also wounded. Their conditions are not known at this time. They were both rushed to UNM Hospital. Police are investigating this as a drive-by.
Ultimately, a juvenile that's under the age of 18 is a juvenile, and they're supposed to be at home. They're supposed to be doing other things that kids of that age are supposed to be doing. They shouldn't be out at the parks after hours. We have curfews at the parks for a reason, for stuff like this not to happen.
At this time, it is unclear who opened fire or if this is gang-related. Police are keeping a watchful eye, though, on the juveniles that they ran into last night, especially since there have been a rash of crimes involving kids. They're asking anyone with information to call police immediately. We will stay on top of this story all day long, of course, on air and on our KRQE News app. We turn on to this morning. An Albuquerque family is mourning the deaths of 2 family members. Deputies say the recently missing woman here, she was found dead moments before her nephew took his own life during a SWAT standoff. Around 10 Sunday morning, deputies went to a home on the Parito Mesa looking for 45-year-old Edward Jaramillo. They say Jaramillo barricaded himself inside the home there with a shotgun. At the very same time, the body of 65-year-old Ignacia Saiz was found by her family a couple of miles north of that SWAT call. Saiz's family says she went missing on Thursday, the same day she went to the Mesa looking for her nephew, Jaramillo, and her son. Her son turned out to be in jail. No one heard from Saiz after that. Her family believes that she was killed, but if so, by who?
We just don't know why somebody would, she's a double cancer survivor within the last year, and why she had no strength, no reason to hurt anybody. Why anybody would want to hurt her, we don't know.
So Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies are calling the woman's death suspicious. The deputies say Jaramillo shot himself, ending the SWAT situation yesterday.
We have a lot coming up at 5:31 this morning. A woman thought to be drinking and driving gets off with no consequences. Straight ahead, why her state police boyfriend is under investigation this morning, plus more video of the arrest. Again, join us at 6:31, just a few minutes from now.
It's now 6:05. Happening today, Mayor R.J. Berry will meet with a delegation from Costa Rica. The meeting is the start of a week-long visit for the representatives. On Wednesday, the group will meet with Governor Susana Martinez, where they will sign a bilateral agreement. We'll stay on top of that story as well throughout the morning. A woman accused of extreme animal cruelty is behind bars this morning.
And the dogs are still in custody at animal control as we wake up today. Neighbors near Montano and Edith called police saying those dogs were in a car for more than an hour. Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies say they were able to track down their owner, Teresa Fernandez, but they say that she didn't understand what was such a big deal. Animal control was able to get them out and get them cooled down. Yesterday, the judge set her bond at $5,000 cash or surety based on 7 bench warrants that she had in this case. 6:06 this morning and happening now. Roswell police are looking for whoever opened fire at a flag football game over the weekend. It happened Saturday night just before 8 while kids were playing at Stiles Field in West Roswell. Police say witnesses saw a man in a black shirt running with a rifle and shooting at a couple in a vehicle. They say the man and the woman's injuries are not life-threatening.
We turn on to this new facts this morning on a huge recall by Fiat Chrysler after it was revealed that hackers could take control of a Jeep via the internet. Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, they've agreed to pay a payout of a civil penalty acknowledging violations of the requirements to repair vehicles and will submit a rigorous federal oversight. According to the Transportation Department, that is. The car company also says it will buy back 500,000 Ram pickup trucks with defective steering parts. The defect could allow drivers to lose control of the trucks. Take a look at your screen here. These are the cars affected. Owners will be able to trade in their vehicles for more than market value or get a free repair. New this morning, Bill Cosby is in the spotlight once again. This after 35 of the comedian's accusers are on the latest cover of New York Magazine. It is part of a feature on the sexual assault allegations against Cosby. Each woman tells her story inside the issue here. The cover comes after documents from Cosby's testimony in a 2005 deposition were obtained and published. In it, Cosby did admit he got sedatives to give to women he wanted to have sex with. He's never been criminally charged, and to this day, he continues to deny any wrongdoing.
Meantime, new this morning, a state police officer is on leave and under investigation.
So we asked the state police chief if this investigation is surrounding a DWI stop and if the officer crossed the line with the suspect he arrested. News 13's Catherine Mazzone has been digging through court documents. She's here with what she knows.
Good morning. News 13 has learned state police started an internal investigation into the officer 2 months ago after a complaint from within the department. This morning, the officer is on paid administrative leave.
Yeah, she ain't never.
It seems like your typical DWI case.
She was bouncing off the curb, came down here in that Lexus, man. I was like, whoa.
These two officers are talking about 34-year-old Angela Torres, arrested last May for aggravated DWI.
It's obviously that you're incurred to be operating a motor vehicle tonight, okay?
But 8 months later, all of her charges were dropped. Court records reveal it's because arresting officer Marvin Goki of State Police didn't show up to court.
Pretty intoxicated.
There's no way that you can let her off.
No. I'm sorry, that's not the way it goes.
But Goki did show up here and here. We found these photos on Facebook.
State police confirm the woman in these photos is Torres, and the man, they confirm it's Officer Goki. The comments on the Facebook page indicate the two are in a relationship.
State Police Chief Pete Caceres says Officer Goki is currently on administrative leave, pending the outcome of an investigation.
There was an internal complaint about 2 months ago that came to the department's attention.
We asked Caceres whether state police is investigating when Goki's relationship with Torres began and whether it had anything to do with his failure to show up in court.
I can't comment specifically on that because, again, it's a personnel matter. So what I can tell you is that as the chief, I take matters regarding my officers showing up for court very seriously.
When News 13 asked him whether it's acceptable for his officers to have relationships with individuals they've arrested, this is what he said.
If you're asking me specifically about this case, I can't answer that. If you're asking me that question in general terms, my answer would be no.
We sent Torres a message on Facebook and contacted her attorney. We also called the listed number for Goki and tried sending him an email, but we did not hear back. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Catherine. Now, Chief Caceres says an officer has to have reasons sanctioned by the department in order to miss a DWI trial. Conflicts like scheduling, training, or even vacation. If not, he says there are consequences. To watch the full uncut dash cam video of the arrest, go to our KRQE News app right now.
Happening today, funeral services will be held for two victims in last week's movie theater shooting in Louisiana. Mourners came together on Sunday to remember Jillian Johnson and Macy Bro. The two women were killed when authorities say John Russell Hauser opened fire at the Grand 16 Theater in Lafayette before taking his own life. Also this morning, protesters in Texas are demanding the firing of the state trooper who arrested civil rights leader Sandra Bland. She was an activist. She was found dead in her jail cell 3 days later.
We believe that Sandra Bland was disrespected by this cop, and he went from 0 to 100.
The dash cam video shows Trooper Brian Insinia threatening Sandra Bland with his taser, ordering her out of her car. Off camera, he places her under arrest for allegedly kicking him. DPS found Insinia violated procedure and placed him on desk duty. But that's not good enough for demonstrators who protested outside the trooper's home yesterday. They want to see Insinia fired and criminally charged for violating Bland's rights.
We turn out to news happening today. We expect to learn more about a death that APD is investigating after finding a body in front of a home near I-40 in Rio Grande. The body was discovered around 6 yesterday. Detectives spoke with two people in connection with the death, but did not say why. So far, no arrests have been made. The name of the victim has not been released, nor the way the person died. We will continue to update you on this story as details come into our newsroom, of course, on air and through our KRQE News app. Also happening today, the Boy Scouts of America is expected to ratify a resolution.
They're going to be lifting a long-standing ban on openly gay troop leaders. That move comes nearly 2 weeks after the group's executive committee voted to lift the 105-year-old ban. And while some are celebrating the change in policy, others say it doesn't go far enough. Under the decision, church-based units can continue to choose adult leaders whose, quote, beliefs are consistent with their own. But that decision also bans discrimination based on sexual orientation in all of the organization's paying jobs across the country.
It's now 6:37. Where do you live? Your city could be one of the worst places to live in New Mexico. That's according to one website. According to snacks.net, here's the top 5 list. Number 1, Deming, followed by Chaparral, Belen, Meadow Lake, then TRC at number 5. Now, the website says it based its findings on factors like crime and unemployment rates and household income. Belen was hit especially hard for its property crime rates, which they say shows 1 in 15 residents are victims of that type of crime. The website went as far as to call Belen, quote, the 3rd most dangerous place in the state. City officials and residents we spoke to say that is ludicrous.
Belen is definitely not a dangerous place. I believe if you looked at certainly those more dangerous statistics, if you will, the murder and the rapes and the really serious crimes that are out there, Belen is certainly not at the top of those lists.
So the website also ranked the best places. Los Alamos came in at number 1. We have a conversation going on our KRQE Facebook page where you can also find a link to the full list. We turn now to this, some facts you need to know this morning if you're a new mom. A study from Yale University and Boston Medical Center suggests many doctors are not giving new mothers critical advice on how to take care of their baby. 20% of mothers polled say their physician did not share with them current recommendations on breastfeeding or the importance of having babies sleep on their backs. That's to prevent the risk of SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. It's now 6:38. Okay, we know this, right? For weeks now, Donald Trump has been the presidential candidate that's been making headlines for his comments made on the campaign trails.
Lots of news there. And now a new candidate is drawing controversy for invoking images of the Holocaust in talking about the Iran nuclear deal. During a recent interview, Mike Huckabee said, quote, this president's foreign policy is the most feckless in American history. It is so naive that he would trust the Iranians, and by doing so, he will take the Israelis and march them to the door of the oven. Now, again, that's quote, and this has some lawmakers demanding that he apologize to the Jewish community, but Huckabee is not backing down, telling reporters that comment speaks for itself.
Okay, take a look at this new cell phone video this morning. Gives us a better look from inside a hotel guest room as a huge fire rages from outside the Cosmopolitan Hotel that's in Las Vegas. Hotel guests showed the packed stairwells where guests from the 14th and 15th floors were evacuated. Fire officials think someone threw a cigarette down, may have caught the cabana below on fire, carrying the flames to the top balconies there. Many are upset as to how the hotel handled the situation. They're shifting the blame away from the property. They also packed the guests' belongings without their consent.
I can see why you might be a little upset by that, but in the end, everybody got out.
Exactly. I think I'd be more concerned about getting out safely, but that's just me.
That's a dramatic video.